Hi. The Hebrew prophet Isaiah, drawing on the experience of the Jewish people during and after the period of exile in Babylon, wrote powerfully of a link between healing and peace. I have seen their ways, but I will heal them. I will lead them and repay them with comfort, creating for their mourners the fruit of the lips. Peace, peace, to the far and the near, says the Lord, and I will heal them. Here's a song that makes a connection between healing and peace, though that connection only became fully evident to me in recent times, and I'll say more about that later. It's a recording of Deep Peace, made many years ago by the Croi Singers, under the direction of Barbara Jennings. At a time when health and healing in the fullest sense is very much in our minds, I want to explore those links between healing and peace, with the help of that song and some readings from Christian and interfaith sources. I'm grateful to my two readers, both of whom are members of the Northern Ireland Interfaith Forum, Jill, who's also a Croi provisional member, and Edwin, who's a leading member of the Northern Ireland Baha'i community. There's a very striking passage in the Hindu scriptures from the Bhagavad Gita.
The person is wise who keeps under control all the senses. Such a person is established in perfect knowledge. If one concentrates on objects of the senses, one develops attachment to them. From attachment, desires are born, and desire flames to fierce passion and anger. From anger comes delusion, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. Then spiritual intelligence and noble purpose are lost. But if one deals with objects of the senses, so that they serve one's free soul, to such a one indeed comes tranquillity, and out of that tranquillity shall rise the end and healing of earthly pains, and a return of spiritual intelligence, since the will governed sets the soul at peace.
The word shalom in the Hebrew Bible is translated into English as peace, but it goes way beyond the ways in which peace is often used superficially, such as indicating a passive absence of war or an end to violence. It's a rich concept, and it implies active and creative healing and wholeness. We might indeed describe it as a deep peace. And I'm always struck by the similarity of shalom, peace, with the World Health Organization definition of health. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. This holistic approach to health can be found in writings of many of the other great faith traditions, such as this passage from the Quran.
O mankind, there hath come to you a direction from your Lord, and a healing for the diseases in your hearts, and for those who believe a guidance and a mercy. Say, in the bounty of God and in his mercy, in that let them rejoice. This is better than the wealth they hoard.
These words were written by Baha'u'llah, the prophet of the Baha'i faith.
The prophets of God should be regarded as physicians, whose task is to foster the well-being of the world and its peoples, that through the spirit of oneness they may heal the sickness of a divided humanity.
The son of Baha'u'llah, Abdul-Baha, who travelled widely in the early 1900s teaching the ideas of the Baha'i faith, wrote of healing in both the physical and spiritual senses.
There are two ways of healing sicknesses, material means and spiritual means. The first is by the treatment of physicians, the second consisteth in prayers offered by the spiritual ones to God and in turning to him. Both means should be used and practiced. Illnesses which occur by reason of physical causes should be treated by doctors with medical remedies. Those which are due to spiritual causes disappear through spiritual means. Thus, an illness caused by affliction, fear, nervous impressions will be healed more effectively by spiritual rather than physical treatment. Hence, both kinds of treatment should be followed. They are not contradictory. Therefore, thou shouldst also accept physical remedies inasmuch as these too have come from the mercy and favour of God, who hath revealed and made manifest medical science, so that his servants may profit from this kind of treatment also. Thou shouldst give equal attention to spiritual treatments, for they produce marvellous effects.
I've been familiar with the words of Deep Peace, that song with which we started, for many years, and I made that choral setting back in the mid-1980s. There have been several other settings of the words, including by some very well-known contemporary composers, but over the years I've learned much more about the origin of the words themselves, and I've come to realise just how relevant it is to the concept of healing and health. When I first encountered those words, it was in a publication of the Iona community and described simply as a Celtic rune. Elsewhere I found it described as a traditional blessing, which is what I called it when I first set it to music as a short choral piece. Another verse later emerged, usually set as the first stanza of Deep Peace, and I sometimes use that as a solo verse. Later, I discovered that the words are in fact written by Fiona MacLeod, a pseudonym for the Scottish writer and poet William Sharp, who lived in the second half of the 19th century. But it was only very recently that I attempted to track down the original publication in which the words appeared, a collection of stories entitled The Dominion of Dreams, Under a Dark Star, published in 1895. I discovered that the lines were selected and very slightly adapted from the end of a story entitled The Omadhaun, about a traveller with what we would today describe as a mental health issue. Despite its characterization as a blessing, the Deep Peace poem of the original is, in reality, a prayer for healing and wholeness within the peace of the created world.
Deep peace of the running wave to you, deep peace of the flowing air to you, deep peace of the quiet earth to you, deep peace of the flock of stars to you, deep peace from the Son of Peace to you.
Here is a more recent version of the setting, with both verses, and I'd like us to use it as our prayer for healing, in our personal lives, in our community, in the natural world. Afterwards, I'll close with 2 short readings from the Hebrew Scriptures and the New Testament. Deep peace, pure white of the moon to you. Deep peace, pure green of the grass to you. Deep peace, pure brown of the earth to you. Deep peace, pure grey of the dew to you. Deep peace, pure blue of the sky to you. Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the Son of Peace to you. Ezekiel's words were picked up by the visioning author of the book of Revelation. Anyone who's visited the Croi at Corrymeela is reminded of them visually and vividly. Our continuing prayer for healing in its fullest sense. Then the angel showed me the river of the water of life, bright as crystal, flowing from the throne of God and of the Lamb through the middle of the street of the city. On either side of the river is the tree of life with its 12 kinds of fruit, producing its fruit each month. And the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations.